Alright, Algebra 1, I'm going to break this final exam into a couple pieces, but here you go. If you want to pause this, you can check your answers for the first 31 questions. If you need to rewatch something or skip around, feel free to do so, but I'm going to try to go through this real quick. So this first video is just over the first 16 questions. Alright, so this first one we have a solving radical equation. And what you should make sure that you do is you should get that radical by itself. Okay, so if I do this, I would add 6, okay, which gives me the square root of x plus 4 equals to 16. To undo a square root, you square both sides, which gives me the equation x plus 4 equals 256. Okay, from here I would simply subtract 4, which would give me 252. So there's my answer. That's why I said it was A. Alright, here I've already drawn the box. This is clearly multiplication, so I need to do so. Alright, so when you multiply, remember that you multiply the front numbers and you add exponents. Okay, so I'm just going to fill in this box, and then I will explain how I chose my answer. Alright, if I add 6 and 4 together, since these two are like terms, that would give me 10x squared. That would help me eliminate these two answers. And if I add 12x to 1x, I would get 13x. So therefore, my answer is C. Alright, here I ask you to divide by something. You could do this long division, but I've gone ahead and set it up with synthetic division. Notice that here you have x plus 2. So therefore I put a negative 2 in this box. Okay, it's whatever equals 0. Then this is 1, 6, 13, 14, and that's why those are my numbers. So the pattern goes, you drop the first number, you multiply it by whatever's in the box. Okay, you put that on the next line, and then you add or subtract them. Okay, and now I redo this. I multiply it by what's in the box, that gives me negative 8. Add them together, that's 5. Okay, bring it down. Multiply it by what's in the box, and again add or subtract them together, okay, which gives me 4. This represents my remainder, okay, my constant, which doesn't have a letter, my x term, and my x squared term. So this answer is x squared plus 4x plus 5 plus a remainder of 4. Alright, here, because it's addition, I went ahead and lined this up the way that I taught you to do it. I write my first one down, and then I write my second one down with like terms lined up. It's clearly 3 and 1 is 4x squareds. Okay, that negative 5x stays the same, and 3 and 3 is 6. Okay, so this, if I look carefully, answer choice A. Alright, here I have another division problem. Again, even though that's x minus 2, I changed my sign, that's a positive 2. And then I write down my coefficients, 3, 4, negative 4. You drop that first number, and you multiply it by what's in the box. Then you add them together. You multiply by what's in the box, and add them together. And again, remainder, constant, x. So the question is, what is the remainder? So it's clearly 16. Alright, here we have to find the difference. What I want you to make sure of is when it says subtraction, that changes this and this. If there were 5 terms in there, each one would change its sign. Okay, so that's why I wrote down a negative x squared and a positive 3x. So now, x squared minus x squared is just 0. 3x and 3x add together to give you 6x. Those don't cancel since they're both positive. And that's a plus 2. So that is why B is correct. Alright, over here, product. Find the product of these two complex numbers. Product means multiply. Alright, so now that I have that, that's 3, 7i. Let's see, that's 24i. 8 times 7 is 56. And because that's an I times another I, that's I squared. Okay, so make sure that you realize that, and I'm going to highlight, 7i and 24i clearly add together to give you 31i. Okay, So you know there's 31i in your answer. So I'm going to mark this and this out. That's not your answer. The thing that people forget is this right here. 56i squared, okay, 56i squared is 56 times negative 1, which is negative 56. So if you add a 3 and a negative 56, 3 and negative 56, add together to give you negative 53. That's why A is correct. Alright, factor. Remember that you should always try to find a GCF. If you notice, they don't all have an X term, but what they do all have is the fact that they're all divisible by 2. Okay, so divide by 2 on all of the terms. Okay, that would give you x squared, 7x, and negative 18. Alright, sorry about my handwriting. So, factors of 18 that subtract to give you 7 would be a positive 9 and a minus 2. And we had to pull out that 2 already, so that is correct. Alright, now these next two are actually rather easy, but people forget to actually use their calculator technology for what's good for. So if you have to do something like this, it's cubic, and you don't know how to factor it, type in the graphing calculator and look at it. Here's the graph over here to the side. I showed it to you. You should be able to use your intercepts, okay, your zeros, also known as your roots, to help you figure out your factored form. So because that's a negative 5, I know that x plus 5 is one of my factors. And that is the only answer choice that has x plus 5 in it. But notice, the negative 4 became x plus 4, the positive 1 became x minus 1. Same exact concept here. You factor it, or you graph it, and you should be able to see where your intercepts are at. That's at 2, 3, and negative 2. So that negative 2 becomes x plus 2, positive 2 becomes x minus 2, positive 3 becomes x minus 3. Again, A. Alright, this one's probably the easiest question on here. Classify it by degree and number of terms. Well, the number of terms, there are clearly 3. I underlined each one. And the degree, highest exponent, is your 4. So this is a trinomial because it has 3 terms and a degree of 4. Alright, factor 4x squared plus 12x. Again, GCF. They both are divisible by 4. But don't forget that they also have an x. Okay, x squared has an x, and so does x. So that's your GCF. Alright, if you pull out that 4x, the first term would still have an x in it, and 12x divided by 4x is 3. That is why D is the fully factored form. Alright, here, this is just too easy. What multiplies to give you 14? Well, 7 and 2, 1 and 14. And how can they subtract to give you negative 5? That would be a positive 2 and a negative 7. So there you go. Alright, factor 2x squared plus 17x plus 15. This one, a little bit more complicated because that 2 is up front. So what you're going to do is multiply that 2 by that 15. That's going to change this problem to 30. Okay, so now you'd think your multiples of 30 are 1, 30, 2 and 15, and I'm going to stop right there because 2 and 15 add up to 17. So now I'm going to write these down. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide each piece by the front number, that 2 that I had put in this box earlier. Okay, so 2 over 2 is just 1. That's one answer, or one factor. And the other one, 15 over 2, doesn't reduce. And this is why it's called bottoms up for anybody that wants to remember. That is 2x plus 15. Okay, which you should see is answer choice D. Alright, this one again, very simple. You are adding. So I wrote it out already, lined up my like terms. That still is x to the third. These two add together to give you a 2x squared, a 5x, and where people will go wrong, it's a negative 3, not a positive 3. So C. The final question for this video. Okay, what can you tell me about this graph? You really should know these by now for polynomials. If that right arm is going down, like this is showing you, the right side is going down, it has to be negative. Okay, positive would mean it's increasing, so it can't be A or B. Since it's negative, okay, it's either even or odd, and since they're going in opposite directions, that should tell you O, opposite, odd. Okay, that's an odd graph that is decreasing negative. Alright, so stay tuned for the next video.